Amanda had always believed that family came first. At least, that was what her parents always told her growing up. She was 32, working in marketing for a tech company in Denver. 5 years ago, she bought her apartment. It was a big stretch financially, but she was determined to have a place of her own. The mortgage payments were high, but she managed. Last month, everything changed. Amanda was promoted to senior marketing manager. The salary increase was big, almost 40% more than what she had been making before. When the HR director told her the number, Amanda had to ask her to repeat it just to be sure she had heard it right. The first thing that came to her mind wasn't a vacation or a shopping spree. It was her mortgage. With that kind of money, she could pay it off years ahead of schedule. The thought of being debt-free and truly owning her place was exciting. She couldn't wait to share the news with her family. Her parents had always seemed proud of her, or so she thought. Her younger sister Lucy had recently married Justin, a man who worked in finance but always seemed to be between big opportunities. Amanda had helped them with their wedding expenses the year before. It wasn't a small amount, but she wanted Lucy to have her perfect day. Every month, Amanda also sent $600 to her parents for utilities. Her dad, Henry, had retired early due to back problems, and her mom, Thelma, only worked part-time at the library. Amanda never complained. That's what family was for, right? She invited everyone to her parents' house for dinner to share her good news. Her mom made her famous pot roast. Her dad opened a bottle of wine. Lucy and Justin showed up dressed like they were going out to a fancy restaurant afterward. "I got promoted," Amanda announced after everyone had settled at the table. "Senior marketing manager." "That's wonderful, honey," Thelma said, serving her a large portion of mashed potatoes. "How much more are they paying you?" Amanda told them the number. Their eyes widened. "Well, that's fantastic," Henry said, raising his glass. To Amanda's success. Everyone clinked glasses. For a moment, she felt like she was on top of the world. "So I've been thinking about what to do with the extra money," Amanda said. "I'm going to put almost all of it toward my mortgage. If I stay focused, I could be completely debt-free in about 18 months. The silence that followed was strange. Thelma and Henry exchanged looks. Lucy put down her fork. "Is that really the best use of your money?" Thelma finally asked. "What do you mean?" Amanda asked, confused. Henry cleared his throat. "Well, honey, you're already making your payments on time. There's no need to rush to pay it all off." "Yeah," Lucy added, twirling her wedding ring. "Actually, Justin and I have been struggling with our rent lately. His commission changed, and things are tight. It would really help if you could chip in a bit each month." Amanda stared at her sister, unsure she had heard correctly. "You want me to help pay your rent?" "Just temporarily," Justin said smoothly, "until things get better. And your father and I," Thelma added, "have been thinking about replacing our car. The repair bills are piling up. A little help from you would make a big difference." Amanda couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Wait, let me get this straight," she said. "I just told you I got a promotion, and your first thought is how my money can benefit you." "Don't be selfish, Amanda," Lucy said sharply. "That's what family does. We help each other." "I already help," Amanda said, her voice rising despite her effort to stay calm. "I send Mom and Dad $600 every month for utilities. I gave you and Justin $10,000 for your wedding last year. How is that being selfish?" "That wedding money was a gift," Lucy replied with a shrug. "And the utility money is just basic support for our parents. We're talking about new needs now." Amanda took a deep breath. "Look, I understand everyone has needs, but I have goals too. I've been dreaming about paying off my mortgage early, and now I finally can." "So your apartment is more important than your family?" Henry asked, his voice full of disappointment. "That's not what I'm saying," Amanda replied, her cheeks getting hot. "I'm saying I need to take care of my financial future too. Once my mortgage is paid off, I'll have even more flexibility to help out, if it's needed." Thelma sighed loudly. "I guess we know where we stand then." The rest of the dinner was terrible. No one spoke much. The room was full of awkward silences and judgmental glances. Even the pot roast, which Amanda usually loved, tasted like cardboard. As she drove home that night, Amanda felt a mix of guilt and anger. Was she being selfish? Was it wrong to want financial freedom before taking on more responsibility for others? She thought about it over and over. But deep down, she knew she had to stick to her plan. Her future was at stake. 3 months after that awkward dinner, Amanda was making real progress on her mortgage. Every extra payment gave her a small sense of pride. But things with her family were different. Calls from her parents became more predictable. Amanda, the water heater is acting up. Or, your father needs new glasses. Lucy was worse. She texted at least twice a week with one emergency or another. After she was demoted at work, something about missed deadlines. She and Justin were having trouble making ends meet. Amanda always sent the money. Part of her felt it was her duty. Another part hoped they would one day appreciate it. But they didn't. The thank yous got shorter. The requests came more often. It was like her help was no longer appreciated. It was expected. One Tuesday evening, Amanda's phone buzzed with a text from Lucy. My birthday party this Saturday at Justin's mom's house. 6 p.m. Bring a nice gift. Address, 1542 Oakwood Lane. Amanda figured this might be a chance to mend fences, especially since she hadn't met much of Justin's family. Their only meeting had been at Lucy's wedding a year ago. His mother, Thelma, had a reputation for being particular. Lucy's polite way of saying judgmental and controlling. That Friday, during her lunch break, Amanda went shopping for a gift. She bought a designer handbag Lucy had been wanting for months. It cost nearly $500, but Amanda wanted to make a good impression and show there were no hard feelings. Saturday arrived. Amanda pulled up to a large colonial-style house in an upscale neighborhood. Cars lined the street, suggesting a bigger gathering than she expected. Holding the gift bag, she rang the doorbell. A stern-faced woman in her 60s opened the door. You must be Amanda, the woman said, looking her up and down. Lucy's sister? Yes, that's me. Nice to see you again, Thelma. Thelma nodded shortly and led her into a living room filled with people. Amanda spotted her parents, Henry and Thelma, chatting with a couple she didn't recognize. Lucy was surrounded by friends. Justin stood nearby with his father and sister. Amanda had barely taken 3 steps into the room when Thelma's voice rang out, loud enough to stop a few nearby conversations. So Amanda, I've been meaning to ask you something, Thelma said. Why do you refuse to help your sister financially when you clearly have the means to do so? The room went quiet. Amanda felt her face get hot with embarrassment and confusion. I'm sorry, what? She managed to say. Lucy tells me you got a big promotion, Thelma continued, her voice carrying across the room. Yet she and Justin are struggling to pay rent, and you won't help. I find that interesting. Amanda glanced at Lucy, who was now very interested in her phone. I do help Lucy, Amanda said carefully. I've sent her money multiple times over the past few months. Thelma scoffed. Pocket change. You could easily cover their entire rent if you wanted to. But instead, you're hoarding your money to pay off your own apartment ahead of schedule. Very selfish behavior. Amanda felt like she had been slapped. She looked around the room and saw her parents staring at the floor. They wouldn't meet her eyes. Several guests whispered to each other. She wanted to leave badly. But as if reading her mind, Lucy suddenly appeared beside her and grabbed her arm. Please don't go, Lucy whispered urgently. It'll just make things worse. People will ask questions. Her parents hurried over too. Stay, Amanda, Thelma whispered. Don't make a scene. So Amanda stayed, swallowing her hurt and anger. The dinner that followed was painful. Amanda sat silently while Lucy opened gifts and smiled at everyone's compliments. When it was Amanda's turn, she handed Lucy the expensive handbag and forced a smile. Oh, how nice, Thelma said loudly. Though I know you earn enough to have bought her something truly special. Several guests nodded in agreement. Her parents exchanged glances and nodded too. Their silence hurt more than Thelma's words. Lucy sighed dramatically. Not everyone understands the importance of family helping family, she said, glancing at Amanda. Amanda sat there in shock. The combined nerve of them all was too much. For the next hour, she quietly picked at her food and only responded when someone spoke to her directly. As soon as she had the chance to slip out unnoticed, she left through the front door without saying goodbye. On the drive home, tears of anger and pain blurred her vision. Days passed. No one apologized. Not Lucy. Not her parents. And certainly not Thelma. It was like the entire humiliating moment had never happened. Except Amanda couldn't stop thinking about it. The following Sunday, her parents invited her over for their usual family dinner. She almost said no, but decided it might be a chance to clear the air. Her mother mentioned Lucy would be there too. When Amanda arrived, Lucy and Justin were already seated at the table. Henry was carving a roast chicken while Thelma brought in side dishes. The normal scene felt strange after what had happened. After some awkward small talk about work and the weather, Amanda couldn't hold back anymore. "I think we need to talk about what happened at Lucy's birthday," she said, setting down her fork. The table went silent. "What do you mean?" Lucy asked, acting innocent. "I mean how Thelma publicly humiliated me," Amanda said. "She accused me of not helping you financially. And none of you, not one, stood up for me." Lucy gasped. "Don't you dare insult my mother-in-law. Thelma was just telling the truth." "You are selfish, Amanda." Justin nodded. "My mother sees through your act. You only care about yourself and your stupid apartment." Amanda turned to her parents, hoping for support. But they looked uncomfortable, not upset for her. "Well, honey," Thelma began slowly, "you have been very focused on your mortgage lately. And less focused on your family obligations," Henry added. Amanda stared at them. These were the people who raised her, the ones she thought would always be on her side. But in that moment, she realized something painful. They didn't see her as a daughter or a sister. They saw her as a source of money. "I think I need a break," Amanda said, standing up. "From all of you." The next few months passed in a blur of work and mortgage payments. Amanda stuck to her plan, making extra payments whenever possible. Each month, the balance dropped. She could finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Her relationship with her family stayed distant. She still sent her parents $600 a month for utilities. She helped Lucy with small amounts when asked, but their conversations were short and formal. There were no more Sunday dinners, no more long phone calls with her mother. Then one ordinary Tuesday morning, Amanda received the email she had been waiting for. Mortgage payment confirmation. Final payment processed. She stared at her computer screen, barely able to believe it. With her latest payment, the mortgage was completely paid off. Her apartment, all 1,100 square feet of it, was finally hers. No more debt, no more monthly payments, just freedom. She wanted to celebrate this milestone. And despite everything that had happened, her first thought was to share the moment with her family. Maybe it could be a fresh start for them all. Amanda called an upscale restaurant downtown and made a reservation for Saturday night. "Hi, Mom," she said when Thelma answered the phone. "I have some good news I'd like to celebrate. I paid off my mortgage." "Oh, that's wonderful, honey," Thelma said, sounding genuinely pleased for the first time in months. "I'd like to take you and Dad to dinner on Saturday to celebrate at Giovan's downtown. And Mom, could you let Lucy and Justin know they're invited too?" There was a pause. "Sure, I'll tell them," Thelma replied. Saturday arrived. Amanda got to the restaurant early, feeling excited and a bit nervous. The hostess led her to a large table in a quiet corner, perfect for their family celebration. She ordered a bottle of champagne and waited. Her parents arrived first, both dressed up for the occasion. They exchanged slightly awkward hugs, but their smiles seemed sincere. Then the restaurant door opened again, and Amanda froze. It wasn't just Lucy and Justin walking in. An entire group followed behind them. There were Justin's parents, Thelma and Henry, then a woman who looked like Justin's sister, her husband, and 3 children ranging from about 5 to 10 years old. Lucy walked up to the table with a big smile, as if bringing 7 unexpected guests to Amanda's celebration dinner was completely normal. "Hope you don't mind the extras," Lucy said casually. "This is my family now, so I figured they should be here too." Amanda sat there speechless as Justin's sister began giving directions to the restaurant staff, asking them to rearrange tables. Thelma gave Amanda a short nod, but didn't say hello. Since Amanda's paid off her mortgage, Lucy announced loudly to the group, "She can afford to be more generous now, so everyone, order whatever you want. The most expensive dishes on the menu." The children cheered, and everyone started flipping through their menus, pointing at truffle-infused dishes and premium steaks. Amanda was stunned by the audacity. Her parents were studying their menus too, not meeting her eyes. Were they in on this? Something shifted inside her. Maybe it was watching Thelma order a $120 bottle of wine for her side of the table. Maybe it was Justin's mother demanding the restaurant's most expensive seafood platter. Or maybe it was just months of resentment finally reaching its limit. Amanda quietly excused herself, saying she needed to use the restroom. Instead, she found their server and pulled her aside. "I'd like to change the reservation details," she said. "Please prepare separate checks for each party. I'll pay for myself and the table reservation fee." Everyone else will cover their own orders. The server looked surprised but nodded. Of course, ma'am. When Amanda returned to the table, everyone was laughing and ordering appetizers like nothing was wrong. She put on a smile and sat through toast after toast, each one sounding more like a subtle insult. To Amanda, Justin's father said, raising his glass, who can finally stop being so thrifty now that her mortgage is paid off. To my sister, Lucy added, who will hopefully realize that family deserves her generosity more than the bank did. Her parents chuckled and nodded as if it was all harmless fun, not backhanded guilt trips. Amanda looked around the table and saw them all with new eyes. Dinner continued with people ordering multiple courses and expensive drinks. The children drank sodas they didn't finish and demanded desserts they barely touched. Amanda guessed the bill was climbing into the thousands. Finally, when coffee was being served, the server returned, with a stack of separate checks. There must be a mistake, Henry said. This should be on one bill. My daughter is treating us tonight. The server looked to Amanda. Actually, Amanda said calmly, I asked for separate checks. I'm paying for my meal and the reservation fee. Everyone else is responsible for their own orders. The silence that followed was sharper than anything she had heard all night. This is outrageous, Thelma snapped. You invited us to dinner. I invited my parents, Lucy and Justin, Amanda replied. Everyone else invited themselves. And it was Lucy who encouraged everyone to order the most expensive things, not me. But this bill is over $500 just for me and Henry, Thelma sputtered. Justin's sister looked panicked as she stared at her family's bill, which included all the children's meals. This isn't fair, Lucy cried. You know we're struggling financially. And yet you ordered the $75 steak and two $18 cocktails, Amanda said, still calm. She took out her credit card and handed it to the server with her individual check. I'm all set. Amanda, you can't do this, Thelma hissed, her face red with embarrassment. Actually, I can. And I am, Amanda said. She turned to the server and spoke loud enough for the entire table to hear. Please make sure everyone pays their bill. Don't let anyone leave without settling it. With that, Amanda walked out of the restaurant to a chorus of angry protests and desperate pleas. Her phone started buzzing with texts before she even reached her car. She ignored them all. Back home, Amanda turned off her phone and slept better than she had in months. When she woke up the next morning and finally checked her messages, there were dozens of missed calls and angry texts demanding that she return to the restaurant and pay the bills, apparently totaling about $3,000. The pounding on her door started around noon. Through the peephole, she saw her parents and Lucy standing in the hallway. They looked furious. Part of her wanted to pretend she wasn't home, but she knew the confrontation was coming sooner or later. Amanda took a deep breath and opened the door. They didn't wait for an invitation. All three of them pushed past her into the living room, their faces red with anger. How could you? Lucy shouted. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? Henry pointed a finger at her. $3,000, Amanda. That's what you stuck us with last night. $3,000. We had to put it on our credit card, Thelma added. We'll be paying interest on that for months. Amanda crossed her arms and leaned against the wall. And whose fault is that? She asked. I invited 4 people to dinner. 11 showed up. They're my family, Lucy cried. Justin's parents wanted to celebrate with you. No, they wanted a free meal, Amanda said firmly. Just like they've wanted free money from me all along. Just like all of you have. That's not fair, Henry argued. Isn't it? Amanda raised an eyebrow. Mom, Dad, when was the last time you called me just to talk? To ask how I'm doing? It's always about money. Always about what I can give you. That's what family does, Thelma said. We help each other. Funny, Amanda said. It seems like I'm the only one doing the helping. She walked over to her desk and pulled out a folder. I've kept track, you know. In the past year, I've given you 2 over $10,000. And that's not even counting the monthly utility payments. And Lucy, I've given you nearly $15,000, including the wedding contribution. They stared at her in silence. And it's never enough, is it? She continued. I pay your utility bills, and you want a new car. I help with Lucy's wedding, and then suddenly I'm expected to pay her rent too. I invite you to celebrate my accomplishment, and you bring an entire extended family to take advantage of me. You're twisting everything, Lucy cried. We're struggling. Justin's job isn't stable, and my pay got cut. Meanwhile, you're sitting pretty in your paid-off apartment. An apartment I worked hard to pay for, Amanda replied sharply. No one handed it to me. I earned every dollar, saved where I could, and made smart choices, while still helping all of you. Well, now you need to help again, Henry said. You need to reimburse us for last night and apologize to everyone, especially Thelma and Henry. Amanda actually laughed at that. Apologize? To the woman who's done nothing but insult me? To the family who crashed my celebration and ordered the most expensive items on the menu? On purpose? No, that's not happening. So you're just going to leave us drowning in debt? Lucy's voice rose to a shriek again. You created that debt, not me, Amanda replied calmly. And speaking of money, I've made a decision. I won't be sending the monthly $600 for utilities anymore. And Lucy, no more financial bailouts for you either. The shock on their faces would have been funny if it weren't so sad. You can't do that, Thelma gasped. I can. And I am. Amanda walked to the door and held it open. I think it's time for you to leave. We're not going anywhere until you agree to pay us back, Lucy said, planting herself on the couch. Either you leave willingly, or I call the police and report trespassers in my home, Amanda said, pulling out her phone. Your choice. After they left, Amanda sat down and blocked their numbers from her phone. Then she poured herself a glass of wine and toasted to her new beginning, one without financial manipulation from the people who should have supported her most. The next 2 months were surprisingly peaceful. Occasionally, she heard from mutual friends that her parents and Lucy were spreading rumors about her, calling her selfish, greedy, a terrible daughter and sister. It stung at first, but she soon realized that their opinions no longer held power over her. Amanda redirected the money she used to give them into investments and a travel fund. She took a solo trip to Portugal, something she had always wanted to do, but had put off because of family obligations and mortgage payments. She started dating again, joined a hiking club, and began volunteering at a financial literacy program for young adults. One evening, after a volunteer session, she ran into her mother's old friend Grace at the grocery store. Amanda, it's been ages, Grace said, giving her a hug. I hear things are strained with your family right now. Amanda nodded, bracing for a lecture about family loyalty. But Grace surprised her. Your mother tells everyone you abandoned them, she said. But I've known your parents for 30 years. They've always expected other people to solve their problems. She gave Amanda's arm a squeeze. Good for you for setting boundaries. That brief moment was the validation Amanda hadn't realized she needed. Someone saw it for what it was. Not a selfish daughter, but a woman whose family had become too used to her generosity. A week later, Amanda received a letter. A real handwritten letter. Not a text or an email. It was from Lucy. For a moment, Amanda considered throwing it away. But curiosity won. Amanda, Justin and I are getting divorced. His mother convinced him I'm not good enough for their family. The irony isn't lost on me. I've been thinking about how I treated you. How we all treated you. I'm not asking for money, but I would like to talk someday. Lucy. Amanda folded the letter and placed it in a drawer. Maybe one day, they could rebuild their relationship. But it would have to be based on respect, not financial dependency. As for her parents, Amanda heard they had downsized to a smaller home, one they could afford on their actual income. Part of her felt guilty, but a larger part felt relieved. They were finally learning to take care of themselves.